Welcome to Suffering to Sovereignty. This podcast explores how unresolved trauma shapes our nervous systems and, in turn, how we lead, communicate, and perform in high responsibility roles. Let me begin by setting a clear frame for this space. These conversations are not therapy. They are structured dialogues designed to increase awareness, restore executive function, and bring compassion to patterns that often go unseen in accomplished professionals. You are always in choice here. What you share, how deeply you engage, and when you pause. My intention is not to fix or diagnose. It is to help illuminate how nervous system conditioning influences behavior, decision making, and relational dynamics. If something in these conversations resonates with you, that does not mean something is wrong with you. It means your system adapted intelligently to your past experiences. Awareness is where sovereignty begins. Today's guest is Bimpe Adewusi, and she is a physician who has had particularly unique challenges in what we've traditionally called work-life balance. Please welcome to our stage Bimpe Adewusi. And you go by Bimpe, is that correct?
Yes, I go by Bimpe.
Hi,
yeah.
It's good to see you again. How are you today?
I'm all right.
Good,
Early.
good. What would you like our audience to know about you?
I'm a pediatrician and I'm a mom, a wife. I'm in my 40s and, still just trying to figure out work life, which I think people, when you grow up, you think by your 40s, you'll have everything figured out. I thought I would have it figured out in my late 20s, but still figuring it out.
Yeah. I think that's a media thing that we're led to believe we'll have it figured out by our late 20s.
Yeah.
What led you into medicine and pediatrics?
So, I think as I'm Nigerian from origin, so I was born in Nigeria, and then I did grow up in Texas. But I think Nigerians, I will say that we have a lot of people know that traditionally people are always they're Nigerians are doctors, lawyers, or engineers, and so
Yes.
or nurses, or just professional careers, and it's not even like your parents say that that's what you have to do. It's just I don't know if we're born and you're like, I'm going to do that. I will say I was probably more artistic level. Like I have some artistic interests, but I don't know if my parents ever really tried to nurture those aspects of my life. So it's more like academics and you do well. So I'm the youngest of three, and my sister is a physician as well. And I knew I wanted to do some sort of healthcare specialty or help people because I did enjoy that. And then I actually went to college thinking I was going to do physical therapy. And so I was pre-physical therapy for some time. And then I came to realize I kept asking people, because for physical therapy, you have to do some volunteer hours. I wanted to know why they were there, what caused them to be there, or what was neurologically or whatever going on for them. And then I took my first biology class. And then I was just like, you know what, I need to switch. And so I switched to pre-med. And so that's when I decided I was going to be a doctor. And my journey to pediatrics, I could go into that too.
Just briefly, please.
Yeah. So then, I applied for med school. I didn't actually get in the first time, which was hard for me. And so I had to do something for a year, and I did something called City Year, which is part of, City Year, and it's part of AmeriCorps. And I did it in San Antonio, and I worked at a school in a more impoverished area of San Antonio. And we were teachers' aides, and we would do projects around the school. We built a playground, and my team won an award that year nationally. We were picked as the best team in the
Oh,
US because there's
cool.
different sites all over the US.
That's
And so
wonderful.
that's where my interest for kids kind of
Mhm,
sparked. I was like, oh,
mhm.
I like these little guys.
Yeah.
And um, and then I went to med school, and pediatrics was my favorite rotation.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
yeah.
fun. How many things
Yeah,
you can do in
yeah, it
medicine
was
that are fun? Yeah.
yeah, they're cute, and it was between that and OB,
Mhm.
and then I realized during OB, I was more looking at the baby under the warmer than I was looking at the lady. Like, I didn't care about the sewing of the
Yeah, and that's all I care to do is the babies, and I have
yes.
created a job where I'm able to do that. So, yeah, that's wonderful. So, did you get married before medical school or during your training?
I got married right after residency,
Oh, nice.
so
That's good timing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I met my husband at the club, and which is just funny to me, at like a nightclub. And then we met in Philly, which is where I did my residency. And then while I was doing my residency, I decided I did a rotation in child abuse and decided I wanted to do child abuse pediatrics. So then I went to a fellowship at Brown in Rhode Island.
I don't think I think I barely made it through 1 month of that. I couldn't do it. And my hat is off to you because that is probably the hardest subspecialty in pediatrics.
Yeah, I mean, so it's so interesting because I think like PICU is hard and people like palliative care is hard or NICU just because they are taking care of kids that could die or
Mhm.
die and
Yeah,
that's rough. But yeah, I think, everyone I think it does take a special person to
it
do child
does.
abuse
It
pediatrics.
really does. And then you started having children of your own.
So yes, while I was a fellow, I had one child and
Okay.
still only one. While I was a fellow, and my pregnancy was not like smooth. I think
Ooh.
it wasn't like the roses and butterflies and birds. I don't know that other people seemed it was pretty miserable. But it was more me being miserable. They always told me the baby was fine. And then I remember I went to, it's still like ingrained in my head, my daughter's birthday, because I went to work that day and fellowship was grueling. So it was a hard fellowship
Oh, yeah.
for me, just emotionally
Mm.
and just adjusting to being a fellow. And I felt like it was harder than residency. And so I went to work that day and I had just essential hypertension. So I was being followed for that.
Yeah.
And so I was getting stress tests. And so I failed my stress test. And so I ended up in the ER. And then I ended up having to have an urgent C-section at 34 weeks. And so at first I was just like, oh, I'm just going to have a premature baby.
Yeah. And
But then,
that in itself, with all your knowledge of what happens with pediatric babies,
yeah,
that's terrifying. I know because I went into preterm labor at 34 weeks.
yes,
Managed to
yes,
keep the baby for a bit after that, but still,
yeah.
no.
Yeah. So, and then I remember, because, I don't think I realized how quiet it is in the OR and you could hear everything. And, and so I was listening and I could hear the OB and her resident like going through my layers. And then they were like uterine. And then they pulled out the baby and they're like, happy birthday. And my baby didn't make any sound, no cry. And so I was like panicked
Yeah.
because I'm a pediatrician, so I know they should cry.
Yeah.
And then my husband was there, and my sister actually had flew in urgently because she's amazing. And so then I could hear the NICU coming in, and then you just hear everything. So I heard them saying they couldn't intubate her and that something was wrong with her jaw. And then it was just kind of like downhill from there.
Mm.
And yeah.
I've been the pediatrician in those instances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm trying not to cry.
It's okay if you do. It's okay if you cry. These are
Yeah.
very, very difficult topics we're discussing.
Yeah. So, I found out she had a rare syndrome called Goldenhar syndrome, and I'd never heard of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I did a
Yeah.
fellowship in medical genetics, and my favorite
Oh,
part
okay.
was the dysmorphology syndromes. So
Yeah.
I've had several kids in my practices with Goldenhar syndrome, and they're just such adorable little people.
Yeah. And I think what I learned about it is, it's mainly craniofacial issues.
Mainly.
And then, yeah, and they can have some organ issues, but tend to be normal intelligence. But my daughter has been an extreme case. So she kind of had all her systems affected, is autistic, has a trach, has a G tube, was in the NICU for over 200 days, had multiple heart surgeries, and first 2 years of her life spent in and out of the PICU. And that was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
because at home, she was on a vent at some point. So running a mini ICU at home and then going into work and trying to be present because sure, my life is hard, but I'm dealing
Yeah.
with families that are dealing with a lot of hard things.
When did you take care of yourself?
I took some time off.
Okay.
I took like 10 months off to take care of her.
Okay.
And then I went back in, and so I used all my PTO. So then I just had to work until I finished my fellowship. It was awful. I wouldn't recommend it. It was hard. It was just hard. You come home, and I mean the bond me and my daughter have, I think, is amazing. She's 11 now, and I think she just remembers that I was always there. So
you were always there for her. And Goldenhar syndrome, I think every single patient I had with Goldenhar was on a G tube.
Yeah.
And every one of them was ventilated at some point in time. Most of them didn't stay ventilated for very long. I had one that did.
Mm-hmm.
But they are truly such precious, special people. Yeah.
I would say that's my daughter. she's nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretty spicy. She signs. Trying to get her to use an AAC in special educations, and navigating the school system has been tricky. And just navigating this. I feel like I'm a fairly intelligent person as a physician, and it's hard. And I always worry about families that don't have my education background or knowledge,
mm-hmm.
and knowing when to advocate for yourself it's been interesting.
What have you learned about yourself during all of this?
I've learned I'm very emotional, and I am this is me always to everybody. I'm always going to be the person that you see in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no sugarcoating that. I'm a staunch advocate of my daughter. I work hard, and I think for me it took some time to realize that I started calling her my forever roommate because she is going to be me and my husband's forever roommate. I don't see her living by herself. So just trying to navigate that. Yeah, I've just learned. I feel like I'm, of course, a very different person than I was before I had a child. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's a complete identity shift, even when your child is normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you go into adulthood. I think we all have a picture in our head, maybe too many Disney movies, but of how you want your life to be or how the parent you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a wrench was thrown, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So, but yeah, it's been a lot, and also it can be isolating because and so the isolation always gets hard.
Well, you had some support initially, and I want to give a shout out to your sister. So tell us her full name.
Oh, wow, that's going to make me even cry harder.
Oh, we don't have to do that then, but
it's okay. She's Adewusi Adewusi, so she's also a Dr. Adewusi. I always say I'm the cooler one. She's the smarter one. She's med peds, and she's just amazing.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, shout out to the other Dr. Adewusi, and I hope that she gets to see this and understand how much you appreciate her.
Oh, yeah, she knows.
And who else has been support for you?
My husband. At the time, when we brought my daughter home, we had to use home nursing. And I do think that having a special needs kid and dealing with the complexities, I don't think before I truly understood home nursing.
Yeah.
I think I saw it as of course they're there to help. This will help this family. It can, but it's like having a lot of nannies. And I'm assuming you just trying to figure out navigating who's the best childcare for you. It's the same kind of thing. and it's if your nanny cancels on you, you don't have a backup.
Right.
So if you're planning to go to work, or I just don't know how other families do it. So I mean, I'm a 2-parent family, but I always feel so bad for families that are depending on someone who doesn't show up. They don't send a backup. So your job. So like my husband has been a stay-at-home dad since I went back to fellowship. And so that's one huge support system. And then my parents, my father, he moved to Rhode Island for a period of time to help us. And then my husband's mom, God rest her soul, she was living with us for some time too. So family,
Yeah.
close friends, other doctor friends, church at the time
Yes.
held a special place for me. And then people I met on Facebook.
Okay. Were there support groups?
Yes, that's why I like Facebook. I know that Facebook is for the older folks like us, and the younger kids think Facebook is stupid, but I like the groups, and there's a lot of groups. There's physicians for kids with autism. There's physicians with kids with heart issues. There's moms of trach babies. There's moms of G-tube babies. There's just so many different groups, and those parents know so much. They know way more than the doctors, and so, and it's just weird being in the group because you're a doctor, and then you hear them talking about doctors, and you're like, you know what, you guys know way more than we do. And a lot of them I haven't even met in person, and then when we finally meet, it's just kind of like you feel like, oh my God, this person.
How do you respond differently to things now than you did previously?
I mean, I think it's a combo of my journey and being a child abuse pediatrician. My expectations of families are actually not that big. I I don't have the biggest expectations because parenting is hard, and I don't think people understand that. And having to parent a child, whether, I grew up in a pretty like higher middle class home, and having to parent a class with few resources. And I think I worry that sometimes some doctors are thinking in their head 2-parent family and the level of resources, but you have to realize that some families 1 parent and they don't have a lot of money. So what are the basic things they need to do to keep their kid healthy? And it's feed them, shelter them. And that shelter might not be the kind of shelter you like, but it's the shelter that the family can do. Feed them, shelter them, have schooling, give them medical care. Don't do inappropriate things to them. That's it. So I don't think my expectations are like just huge. Like, you know how when you're in residency, it was before it was a parent, it was like, read to your kid every night, do this, do that, have a schedule. I'm like, sure, read to them, but also just love on them.
Parents don't need more task lists at all.
No, yeah. And it's hard right now in this economy to do basic things. So
just keep a roof over your head and keep everyone fed is a challenge.
Yeah. But yeah, I just try and keep it real with families. And I always try and tell them if I really do think they're doing a good job. Most of the time I do. I will say I try and say this all the time. You're doing a great job. Or I tell them that you're doing as best as you could with what you have.
Right.
And I think those words are huge.
Yeah. Is there some bit of wisdom that you would like to leave with our audience before we close today?
I always tell people, especially families or physicians that are struggling with something or parenting or trying to find balance. So you're a parent and then you're also working. There's a time that you can take a step back. So if you need to take some time off to focus on an area of your life, that's okay. Also, just leaning in on your friends and family, like letting them know when things are hard and that you need help. They want to help you. One thing I've always tell people that know a friend or family member that's having a hard time at the time, a lot of people will say, let me know if you need something. I don't do that.
No.
So I've stopped doing that since my daughter was born. I just do it. So if someone needs something, I send money a lot of times. I'll send food. if I could, I would just go there and clean their house. But I never say, let me know if you need it. I just
No,
go,
no.
because when people are struggling, they don't know what they need.
Right. And sometimes all they need is someone to talk to. And
Yeah.
if someone pops into your head, that's an
Oh,
indication for you to call them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I try and do that too, just because life is short. So whenever I
Yeah.
do think of someone,
Yeah.
I will say, I was just thinking about you and I just wanted to check in on you, say hi. So
Bimpe, it's been a pleasure having you on today and
thank
hearing
you.
about your journey. And I'm sure your daughter is amazing. I wish all the best for her and for you as a
Oh,
family.
thank you. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Mhm.
As we close, I want to thank my guests for their honesty and their courage in sharing this conversation. These conversations matter because what we do not name, we carry. And what we carry silently often shows up in our bodies, our relationships, and our leadership in ways we never intended. If today's episode stirred something in you, I invite you to pause before moving on with your day. Notice what your body registered. Notice what feels familiar without trying to fix or explain. Awareness is not the end of the work. It is the beginning of choice. If you would like support continuing this conversation, I have linked a free nervous system awareness guide in the show notes. This short resource will help you find your personal triggers, recognize your default stress responses, and begin shifting from unconscious reaction to conscious choice with clarity rather than judgment. If this episode resonated with you, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with someone who might need this conversation. It helps this work reach the people who are carrying more than they let on. And if you are listening and feel a quiet pull to share your own story, I want you to know you are welcome here. If lived or witnessed trauma has shaped how you lead, how you work, or how you show up in the world, and you feel called to have a grounded, intentional conversation, you'll find a link in the show notes to apply to be my guest. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this work. I'll see you next time.